be talking about how I ended up on Accutane and my experience after my first a little over a month. I'm a little over a month into Accutane, so we're gonna go over all that. Let's just get right into it. I would say that I had average teenage skin. I definitely had a little bit of acne when I was a teenager, but I never had any cystic acne. But it was never painful, and it was never anything that I needed to see a doctor for or anything like that. So by my sophomore year of college, which was the 2018-2019 year, I had like the best skin of my life, like perfectly I had like perfectly clear skin. I've always been someone who like washes my skin morning and night and wears moisturizer and like has a skincare routine. That was all finally starting to pay off that year. And I just remember the entire year feeling so confident and my skin was in such good shape. All the dates written right here if I'm like. So it was a big surprise in November of 2019 so this was the fall of my junior year. I just instantly woke up one day and had acne everywhere. It wasn't a slow progression. I had made no discernible changes in anything in my life, diet, lifestyle, skincare products, anything like that. I just woke up one day and had acne everywhere. And the places that I struggled the most were on the perimeter of my face, a little bit on my forehead sometimes, but definitely like here and here was where the acne was always most concentrated. I freaked out and I ran to Ulta and I bought all this stuff that I thought would help. Spoiler alert, none of that worked. So I was using all that stuff, kind of like cycling through different things for a couple months. It was also the time that the semester was winding down and we were heading into finals. So I thought maybe it could have been a result of stress. So I decided I was gonna do what I could, but also just wait it out and see if it went away once I came home for my little vacation. And that didn't happen. I saw no difference once all my stress kind of went away. And finally in February of 2020, I contacted my doctor. I first asked my doctor to refer me to the dermatologist because through my insurance I have like Kaiser, so everything is very much like in-house. I wanted to see the dermatologist, but you need a referral from your primary care physician to go to the dermatologist. So I reached out to him and I asked if I could see a dermatologist, and he said that the only thing they could do for me would be to prescribe me Accutane. So unless I wanted to do that, then it was no use for him to refer me. And I definitely found that pretty disheartening. I personally think that there are specialists for a reason, and like it's silly to not take advantage of a specialist. A dermatologist is a specialist in skin and skin issues, and I think that it makes a lot more sense for me to just talk to a dermatologist when it's available to me, theoretically. But I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. I'll see what my regular doctor has to say. And he prescribed me with 2 topicals and an oral like pill. And one of the topicals, I'll list the name because I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was benzoyl peroxide actually. I was extremely allergic to. I actually had to miss classes one day because I was in so much physical pain. My face was like bright red, splotchy, like on actual fire, and really, really, really bad reaction to that, which I've actually found out now is somewhat common. And a lot of people have a really negative reaction to benzoyl peroxide. So that was a bust. And then the other topical he prescribed me was Retin-A, which is a retinol, and that was fine. I didn't have any reactions to it, but it didn't do anything to change my acne. I can't remember which one it was, but I was either prescribed, the prescription was either doxycycline or minocycline, and that also didn't help. And One of the most difficult things about dealing with acne and skin issues is that when you start trying a new regimen, you have to commit to it for at least 3 months before a doctor can determine, like, okay, that hasn't worked and now it's time to move on. I would know earlier on than 3 months that these things weren't working, and I would just have to keep doing it and feeling like I was wasting my time and like I was stuck because I knew I could feel it was not working, and that I was seeing absolutely no change in my skin, and I just had to commit. And you have to, so then it feels like you're just getting set further back and further back, and you're further away from solving the problem because you have to commit so much time to trying it out, which I found super, super frustrating throughout this entire process. And I also just have to say that, like, this kind of acne situation that I was in was incredibly hard on my mental health. And I can imagine it would have been much worse if we weren't in the pandemic, because I would have to be going out more. I wouldn't be under a mask when I would go out. And even so, it was still really difficult. And I just felt like I had no confidence anymore, and I was so embarrassed, and I just felt so unhappy about it, and it was really difficult to be working through that.
Hello, editing me. I just want to make it clear that having acne absolutely 100%, 1000% does not make you ugly or less beautiful or less worthy of anything in this world. And that all of those feelings that I was feeling are things that have been projected onto me from like our world and our society throughout my entire life. And just because that is what I'm feeling doesn't necessarily mean that it's the truth. Sometimes you have to be able to like separate your feelings from what is true. So even though I was not less beautiful and not less worthy, I was made to feel that way based on everything that we're bombarded with every day about acne and stigmas around acne and skin issues. So I didn't articulate that very well when I was talking. So I just want to say that just quick reminder that acne and skin issues do not make you less beautiful, worthy, etc., etc., etc. It's society that makes you feel like that, but it's not true. Okay, bye.
And again, when knew I was trying everything I could and doing what I was supposed to be doing and seeing no results, and but having to commit to doing it still for at least 3 months at a time was just really, really disheartening and frustrating. It wasn't even like, oh, it's getting a little bit better. Like, it was just not better ever. It was consistently the same level of bad no matter what I did. And it was so frustrating. It was a really, really, really hard time. Additionally, like, one of my biggest passions is makeup. I love putting on makeup. I love doing my makeup. And that just kind of like went away. I felt like all I was seeing when I finished my makeup was still just my acne, because makeup can correct color and stuff like that, but it really can't do anything about texture on your skin. And so, yeah, the color would be better, my skin would be more even, but there was still so much texture on my face. And so that also really sucked. That, like, one of my favorite things and one of my favorite hobbies just didn't feel fun to me anymore. It's been a really challenging couple of years, but let's jump back into my timeline really quick. That was February 2020 that I was prescribed all those things. I was told to try it out for a couple months and see what happened, and nothing happened. Except for I was really allergic to that one thing, and it made me feel like I was on fire. In June of 2020, I reached out to my doctor again, and I was really firm about the fact that I wanted to see the dermatologist. And then I met with the dermatologist through my insurance. It was a frustrating experience, to be quite honest. She was really nice. I don't think there's anything wrong with her, but basically she said that she wanted to So obviously not using the topical that I was really allergic to.
I just want to clarify that I stopped using the benzoyl peroxide after I was having the really severe reaction to it. And I just remembered actually that the day that I had to miss school, that I was really, really, really severely burning from the benzoyl peroxide. I reached out to my doctor and I said that I was having an allergic reaction to it, and he told me that I wasn't, and that burning and irritation was normal from the product. And then when I did eventually meet with the dermatologist, she was like, "Oh yeah, some people just have really, really bad reactions to that and are allergic to that. It's really hit or miss." So once again, there's a reason that specialists exist. Just saying.
Keeping on using the topical that I was using and then just switching the medication from the doxycycline to the minocycline, which are like two like almost identical medications. That was all she wanted to do. So then I had to do that again for 3 months. I just felt like I knew that that wasn't going to work. It's not even that I had seen incremental results with what I had been doing before and that I just needed a little bit more of a push. Like I had seen absolutely zero change from what I was doing. So to hear now that the recommendation is that I basically keep doing what I'm doing before and change like this much of what's happening was just super disheartening, because I just felt like I knew that it wasn't gonna work. And it didn't. It didn't work. I did that for a couple months. And then in the fall, I decided I was gonna try maybe a different route. And I started seeing a nutritionist and going to a personal trainer. I thought it was possible that I had something in my diet or my lifestyle that was potentially causing this. And so I did that for a couple months. Also, I can't really remember when, but somewhere in this time period, I had some blood work done, and it showed that I had some elevated levels of testosterone, which can be a cause for acne. And so they put me on a hormone medication called spironolactone. So I was doing that kind of while I was also doing the nutrition and exercise stuff. I also didn't see any results doing any of that. And I did that for almost all of fall 2020 and the beginning of the year, spring 2021. My mom, who's been really helpful in this whole scenario, she decided that it was really time that we get back into taking a really active approach into trying to deal with the situation. She knows someone who is like a whose husband is a plastic surgeon, and she went to them for recommendations for really good dermatologists, because obviously those are kind of like fields that interact. And they recommended a dermatologist who I saw for the first time at the beginning of April 2021. I told her everything that I had done, and the dermatologist said that she thought it was probably time for Accutane. And I agreed. I was pretty sure that's what she was going to say when I went in, and having exercised all my other options, I also thought that it was time. Accutane is an incredibly controlled substance, and so it's not like, okay, we're going on Accutane, she writes the prescription, I fill it, I start Accutane right away. You can't start it for a month after the appointment that you decide that you're gonna start it. So I had to get blood work done. I had to get a letter from my psychiatrist saying that I have been okay mental health wise. I think it was April 28th maybe. And that was the day that I was actually able to start Accutane. That was all the backstory of how I ended up here. And now we're here. I have been on Accutane for a month, and I was told by my dermatologist that I should not expect any results in the first 2 months, and that month 3 and 4 is when everything happens. And then month 5 and 6 is when you really like solidify those results and ensure that the acne doesn't come back once you stop taking the medication. So that's what I had prepared myself for. It's not what happened. I don't know if you can tell, but I have virtually no acne after the first month. All I have left is just scarring and discoloration. I literally have like one pimple right now, like down around my jawline. And that's it. When I walked in for my 1 month appointment, because you have to go in every month, my dermatologist literally gasped. She could not believe that I had this level of results. So that was really exciting. I'm definitely really excited for my remaining 5-ish months. I'll just talk a little bit about some of the like symptoms and side effects that I've experienced or whatever. So my skin definitely had an adjustment period when I started taking the medication. I would say a week in, got really dry. And that's kind of like the main side effect of Accutane medication, is that like it makes your skin really dry from head to toe. I have a little bit of eczema sometimes, and so like my eczema patch that I always have like appeared under my arm and a little bit behind my legs. But then after about a week or so, I feel like it balanced out. So I feel like my dryness has honestly been really manageable. I would say the driest part is my lips. I pretty much apply Aquaphor lip therapy every hour, which obviously isn't ideal. It's kind of annoying, but I think there could be far worse symptoms that I could be experiencing. I would say that my number one most challenging symptom is my sun sensitivity. I've become extremely sensitive to the sun, and even when I'm wearing sunscreen, even if I'm wearing a hat and sunglasses, I will be like a bright tomato for the rest of the day. Even if I'm outside for like 15 minutes in direct sunlight, it'll feel like I was just at the beach for like 6 hours. So that's really uncomfortable, and it's not even, I haven't even really gotten like sunburns or anything. I obviously am wearing my sunscreen every day and stuff like that, but it's just kind of that like after sun feeling that you experience more severely when you've spent an entire day in the sun. Like I've been experiencing spending like 10 minutes in the sun. So that's definitely been challenging, but again, not the worst thing in the world. And then I also have been getting like weird they're not hot flashes because like they're not full body, but like all of a sudden my face will just get like really hot and like really red and splotchy, and I feel like I'm dying. No, and it'll be like that for a couple minutes, maybe half an hour or something, and then it just kind of goes back to normal. Like I don't know if you can see, but when I'm pressing on my skin, it's like you can see my fingerprint. Like I was never like that before. I never really had really, that's called like reactive skin, I believe. My skin's never been really reactive. I've never really dealt with like redness before. But I definitely have experienced that since being on Accutane, because just makes your skin a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more susceptible to its environment. Like I said, dryness from head to toe, so like my scalp's been a little more dry and flaky, and stuff like that. But that's really all of the symptoms and side effects that I've experienced. I know that some people can experience a lot more severe side effects, so I'm feeling really lucky that I've had not a lot of intense side effects and also really great results already. I also think that over the years, Accutane has developed a really negative reputation, and that there are a lot of horror stories and like misinformation out there about Accutane, and I think that a lot of that has probably happened, and there's also been a lot of developments in the way that it's dosed and kind of like the technology behind it that make it very different from how it used to be even probably like 10 years ago. I kind of like prepared myself for the worst, and just haven't really experienced it, including right now, because after my first month, my dermatologist doubled the amount that I've been taking every day after she got my blood work and saw that my liver was okay and all that stuff. So she doubled the amount that I'm taking every day, and I've gotten like a little bit more dry, a little bit more sun sensitive, but that's it. Like I really prepared myself for the worst, and I was like prepared for things to get crazy, but they didn't. And so I'm feeling really lucky. I'm feeling very optimistic about my remaining 5-ish months on Accutane. Not in this video, but in a separate video, I'm gonna go through my whole current skincare routine, head, face, and body, and kind of what I'm using and what I'm liking and not liking for being on Accutane. Let me know if you have any questions. I know this was a lot and it also like wasn't very fun. I don't feel like I've been very fun. But let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have been on Accutane or if you're thinking about going on Accutane and what your experience has been if you've been on it. I'm planning on doing like periodic updates if there are updates to be had during my Accutane journey, but if nothing's really exciting enough to do like month to month, I'll definitely do a video when I'm finished with my Accutane. That is gonna be it from me today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And I'll see you next time. Bye! No. It's like tentacles. And I'll see you next time. Bye!